Explain how two different species of goby fish could have developed from an ancestral species of goby fish. 6 marks. Okay, so 6-mark question. As always, they're assessing your quality of written communication. How well can you explain your answer in a logical sequence? This is a very set process, and what the question is essentially asking you is outline the process of speciation. What is speciation? So you can have any 6 of the following points. You need to make sure they're in the right order. Firstly, two ancestral populations are separated, often by a geographical barrier. So in the case of this question, if you refer back to the context, we can see that a strip of land known as Panama has formed between the two oceans, so the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. That barrier separates the two populations, and this is known as geographical isolation. Genetic variation will arise in the different populations, so different variation will occur in the two different populations, and this is a result of different alleles and different mutations occurring in different individuals. Now, because a different environment will be there on each side of the strip, so obviously on the Pacific side and the Caribbean side, there'll be a different climate, there'll be different competitors, there'll be different predators, different prey. Things will evolve differently. So you can say that there are different selection pressures. That's the posh word for it. This means that different characteristics will be advantageous in the two different environments. So different individuals will be fitter in the two different environments, and different individuals will survive better in the two different environments. So natural selection will take place. Survival of the fittest. Those that are best adapted to the local environment will survive and reproduce. This means that the favourable or the advantageous characteristics, the genes, will be passed on to future generations. Because of those different selection pressures, different genes are being passed on either side of the geographical barrier in each population. So this means that the populations will evolve very differently. Different characteristics are being passed on due to different selection pressures, different environments, so the characteristics of the populations will change. Eventually, the two populations will become so different that they cannot interbreed successfully. That means that they can't produce fertile offspring. And if you think back to the definition of a species, if they can't successfully interbreed and they can't produce fertile offspring, then they are not a species. So that means that speciation has occurred. Two separate species have formed.